Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Dumb SEO Questions, episode 174. Each week we meet to answer the questions asked on the SEO Questions community on Google+. With us tonight we have a big team of SEOs from looks like all around the world. Chase Rayner from the west coast of the USA. Chase is proud to call himself an SEO. Also works for a firm, First Click Inc. David Razam is an SEO of 12 years standing, a copywriter of 32 years standing. He thinks that if he keeps at it, he'll eventually get it right. You can find David at writingforseo.org. Edwin Yonk is a web host and on-page SEO specialist in the Netherlands. You can find Edwin at idesthost.nl, idesthost.nl. Masataki Wasa has a website in the UK. It's wasaweb.net. Masataki is also a Google Top contributor on the AdSense and also the Google Plus Help community. Masataki's website is wasaweb. It's wasaweb.net. Niraj Pandey is an SEO from India. Niraj has joined us a number of times, and I'm just so old I've forgotten his website. And I've also forgotten the website of, let me guess, it is something you know. Help me, Suraj. It's Rank Uno, that's it, Rank Uno, Interactive Technologies. Suraj has worked for Yahoo and currently working for Rank Uno. He's located in Pune in India. I think that's the right pronunciation. Corby's leading SEO is Tim Kappa. Tim is a conversion rate optimization specialist, proud to call himself an SEO. He's located in the frozen wastelands of the north of England, and you can find Tim at onlineownership.com. Okay, let's go on to our first question for the night. I think we've got about a dozen. Hopefully we'll get through them before we all fall asleep. And the first one is from, when it comes up, Fernando Vella on over-optimizing URLs. Fernando said, "Hi SEOers, I'm redoing my entire site and deciding on URL structures for my content. I'm worried about over-optimizing my URLs with keywords. My dumb question is, do these URLs look over-optimized?" I won't read out the URLs, but you can see them on the SEO Questions community on Google+. I'll just make sure he hasn't said anything else. Just give me a second. No, that's all he said. He gave us two URLs with undisabled links. Anyway, guys, who wants to cover this one first?
I mean, I think they look pretty good.
Well, there's some solid advice in the thread from Jan Grond. He suggested that shorter URLs are better than longer. For example, in his example URLs, there are services. That's not really needed in the URL. And that's really solid advice.
I will say that having like two folder paths down is probably not going to be as good as just having like, you know, homepage / whatever the path is going to be, because in my opinion, having your main keywords closer to your index page is usually going to be a better thing in terms of rankings. But that's not to say that you can still have really good rankings with, you know, a couple paths down. But I mean, if you don't have to, I wouldn't say, you know, trying to make a couple folder paths down just for to make it really specific like that, unless you have a lot of categories underneath that one folder path that you're going to be going through.
Yeah, yeah, that's correct. Right. To give an example, is example.com / service name, right? That would be a good structure for a URL. On the other hand, having a category between the landing page, that's fine too, right? Normally, I would pick the shorter one.
Yeah.
No, I'd say unless the site was particularly large, you know, had a large number of pages, it's not worth having that digital marketing services level in the URL. If it starts to get big, and I'm not going to attempt to say how many pages that is, you know what big is, it might be worth trying to silo it, as some people say. In other words, have digital marketing, well, maybe have SEO, maybe have PPC, and then whatever it might be, key phrase research, running the campaign, campaign management, whatever it might be. So it depends on the size. I would go for simpler, shorter URLs where possible. But if you're getting a lot of key phrases and a lot of content on the site, then make it easier for search engines and for readers by dividing it up, effectively using longer URLs to reflect that. End of.
Cool. Anybody else?
Tim's about to say something. No, he's not. He's asleep.
No, he's not asleep.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, we.
All right. I think that what is it? All right. Let's move on to the next. Mariana Dunavi said, "Hi all. I have my dumb question of the week. Any help is highly appreciated. I'm looking after marketing for a boutique hotel on Santorini Island called Aegialis. We recently got a new website keeping the same domain name. However, our new homepage URL is www.aegialis.gr/en, while the old site homepage was simply the root domain. Our old homepage has been 302 redirected to the new homepage. However, if I understand correctly, since we moved to the new site, it would be better to have a 301 permanent redirect in order to transfer SEO equity from the old site to the new." Absolutely right. Critical question. Our designer recommended we actually keep the same homepage URL, i.e. www.aegialis.gr. if we do this, we still need a 301 redirect from the old www homepage to the new www homepage, as the new site sits on another server. Further, for me to SEO audit the new site, is there a list of things I should do, such as check if the new site is indexed with Google, etc.? Thank you for all your help, Mariana.
I thought a 302 was a 301 permanent redirect.
No.
It's temporary.
302 is a temporary redirect, and the results from a 302 are hit and miss. Googlebot historically has never been able to handle a 302. I once accidentally put 400,000 products into the Google Index, accidentally using a 302.
Holy cow.
I love what Federico says. Never ever redirect a URL to itself. You generate an infinite loop. World entropy would skyrocket. The ice caps would melt. Plagues. Yeah, in a nutshell. Awesome.
And the oil price would definitely crash.
Ah, so Maria must have used the 302.
I think we should point out that it's always, as the developer has pointed out, it's always the best option to use the root domain as the homepage. None of this /en.
Mm-hmm.
Can somebody jump in and summarize for Mariana?
I mean, I think we already kind of know the answer, right? Do the permanent 301.
Yeah,
Okay.
and
Yeah, go on.
then try and stay on the same domain. Try and keep it the same domain. Try and keep it the same domain.
Yes. Tim Capper said try and keep it the same domain.
Did you say that? Do you think he might repeat it for us?
Right. I think I'm going to have to go and get my other Google shirt on now.
All right. Here's one from Arithmol TP. She said, hi, and this is a trick question. What is a 510 error and a 503 error? Thanks in advance. Federico Sasso gave us a brilliant answer, and Edwin Yonk was just about to chip in.
And read that answer. So a 503 is a service unavailable, and that code is used when there's a lot of traffic to a website and the server cannot handle that amount of traffic, or if there's something wrong with the server. That's a normal, quite a normal HTTP error. At a 510, I never saw a 510. What is it? The server didn't receive enough information. Is that?
It's a DNS error. So really, it
DNS. Yes.
Before the server is actually hit. So it's sort of Not really related to the 503, is it?
No, it is the DNS server, yes. 540 was also a DNS one, but, I think, from memory.
Anybody else? All right, and I thank Federico Sasso and all of the other forum heroes that answer questions through the week. It's an amazing resource, and for that we are truly grateful. All right, let me tweet that. That's done, and this one is from Kyle Hawke. My backlinks are not getting through. He said, hi guys, I have a question. I'm new to the world of SEO and can't find the answer anywhere. When exactly do backlinks count? I'm assuming that the website that has the link to my site has to be recrawled in order for Google to notice the link. I've recently created a niche site and I'm on a blogging campaign of sorts. I post articles to 6 different directories. In brackets, don't worry, each article is unique. And all have a backlink to my site. However, I'm roughly a month and a half in 18 articles written, and the only backlinks that appear in the Google Search Console are 3, none of which are written in the articles. I know Blogger is indexed because those are on the first page of Google for my keyword. So why aren't those backlinks appearing? Thanks in advance, guys. Suraj, you gave a great answer. Would you like to speak to that? Niraj Pandey, you did too.
Yeah, sure. So basically, I mean, Google takes time to crawl the backlinks. And what I've seen is when you especially do the link building with activities that are kind of outdated, Google ignores those backlinks while you are while that is getting crawled, and it happens most of the time. But it does not mean that Google will not crawl it, but you'll have to wait for some time and see if Google is crawling your backlinks. Keep on checking your backlinks in the Webmaster Console.
Thank you, Suraj. I see Micah Kirshner has just joined us. Micah is Senior SEO Manager for Zendesk.com in the USA. He resides on the west coast of the USA.
Hey.
Hey, buddy.
How's it going?
He needs to be careful. Hey, he needs to be careful though with those links that he's pointing back to his site. I hope he's not using the same anchor text on every single link.
Okay, any others?
Hi, Jim.
Hi, Niraj.
Yeah, as Suraj has mentioned, it is very clear. And the time I was working on my backlink profile, so I found that sometimes Google shows some links to you in Webmaster Tools search console, but next week or after some time, you will see that those links are again removed. Then again they display. So if any website wants to have a good backlink profile or wants to just review backlink profile in a very good way, so I believe that they should have data from Google Webmaster Tools, from Bing Webmaster Tools. Then it will give them a clear picture, rather than just based on one time having a look at a backlink profile and seeing, and then deciding that these links are not crawled or why they are not being displayed.
Also,
Anything to add? Go ahead, Chase.
I was going to say, I think that there's tools out there like Ahrefs that will let you actually see the backlinks, even though they're not in Webmaster Tools yet.
Yeah, I agree. Href is very good tool. Majestic is good, but I am talking about free tools. If you just want to stay with free tools, then Bing and Google Webmaster Tool, you need to have a backlink data all either every week or every month. Then you will have very good backlink profile of your website.
Mm.
Another one is Majestic SEO. That if you own the website and can show them via DNS.
Href as Majestic, Moz is Open Site Explorer. All these three tools are very good for backlink data.
Does the Ahref have its own index, or is it powered by Majestic's crawling database? Do you guys have any idea?
Href tool is basically of backlinkwatch.com, and it does not have any relation with the other one that you told me.
Okay.
I'm not sure if they still do it. Another one that we should mention is I'm sure that, well, I know that they used to sell them because I bought some back in the days when the pre-beta test of the Disavow tool. But yes, the SEO Quake, who make the SEMrush product, can provide backlinks, and quite reasonably as well. All right, Kyle. The other, before we move on, Kyle Hawk. The other thing I point out is that, as Niraj pointed out, what's in the Google Search Console is a representative sample. It's not the full list, and that representative sample is also not static. So you might see 3 of them this month out of 10. You might see a completely different set of 3 next month. All right, let me tweet that and we'll move on. This is from Grace Jolliffe. A lot of ladies joining us this week. It must be the Tim Kappa factor.
Tim Trouser Press, yes.
Grace Jolliffe said, a question about using keywords in alt tags. I use SEO by Yoast in my WordPress site, and when I look at the SEO results for some of the pages, it said, images on this page do not have alt tags containing your focused keyword. I was told not to do this by a WordPress expert some time ago, and I remain under the impression that it is wrong to do this. Does anyone know what this means exactly? If I was to use a description of the image and a keyword in the alt tag of an image of a witch for this site below, it would look like this: witch-children's-stories. Is this correct? And she gives a website, ballyyahoo.com/children's-stories, or at least a URL.
I wonder if the person who made the comment about not putting the keywords in the alt tag was more in reference to keyword stuffing and spamming about that. Because it's pretty standard to have the use of keywords to help describe an image. Better to kind of create a sentence to nicely describe.
Yeah. So from WordPress, right? generally, right, so you've got an image somewhere, right, and you might have a million images, etc., or a million books or whatever. Now, generally, when you save an image, what you're saving it in becomes the title. You can obviously change that in WordPress, but let's say, for argument's sake, whatever you've saved it as, that becomes the title, the actual alt equals title of the image. So let's say you've got a million images. It will be, it could just be, depending on how you've created them, it could be AFP.1 image, or AFP2.image. So, it all depends on how you've saved it. So let's put this aside. Now, text was basically developed initially, well, not actually initially, but it was really used initially for disability discrimination, because short-sighted people, when they perhaps blurred vision or long or short or whatever, and they use image readers, that's when the image reader would say the description, or the alt image text, it would describe the image to them. So if your image is a bathroom or a book, yours is books, so let's say the Gruffalo, for example. The cover of the book, if that's an image, you might say the Gruffalo by whatever the author. That would be the correct use of that text. If you then added another picture of maybe the internal section of the book, and it was the Gruffalo trying to jump out behind the tree and scare the kid, then you could describe it as the Gruffalo by author, or the Gruffalo jumping out behind tree by author. I think you've kind of got two in your head about keyword, in the sense that, oh, this is just going to be the Gruffalo, the Gruffalo, the Gruffalo, the Gruffalo. No, what you need to understand is the point behind it, and that is where you accurately describe or give a little bit more body to what that image is. Okay, so forget SEO, have it in terms of what the image is and how am I going to describe that image, because that is what it's really intended for. Now, also on the flip side, Google image search will display images based upon your description. So if you've just taken like the back of the book, let's say an image, and you just said the Gruffalo, well, okay, yeah, the back of your book will appear in image search, but nobody's ever going to click on it, because it's not. If you accurately describe the image, it will appear in the correct place within, for example, image search. Or occasionally you get images appearing for a search query, and that image should appear correctly for a query based upon your accurate description of it. So anyway, that's it.
Yeah, I think that's quite accurate. I think she's misusing the Yoast tool here. The Yoast tool has a keyword parameter for SEO, and if you go to the page, it contains 57 times Belly Yahoo. I assume there's a green bar in Yoast that gets greener whenever you mention that particular keyword over and over again. I wouldn't do that. That's bad. That is not good practice.
Yeah. Can I add on to what you're saying, Edwin?
Sure.
I actually have been using the Yoast plugin for a while, and I started checking the SEO that I was doing through the Yoast plugin just by the keyword density that it measures, and I was seeing that a lot of the keywords I was optimizing for with this other tool, it's called SEO Profiler, but it works pretty well. It showed me that I was actually over-optimizing for a lot of the keywords because Yoast wasn't taking into consideration a lot of the things that I was using. And as soon as I fixed those over-optimizations of those keywords, I was actually doing a lot better in the ranks. So you want to be careful with that. And then also in the URL or the alt text for her image, she was putting like, I think there was dashes for the alt text. You don't need to have dashes. I mean, for the URL, of course, there's going to be dashes, and you definitely want to make sure that the file is, or the picture is correct for the URL in terms of describing it. But like Tim was saying, you don't have to have every single keyword in your picture. Just by having an alt tag that's similarly related to what your main topic is going to help you. And then also hopefully help you in image search. And what I usually do in the alt tags is I won't just say like the description. I'll also say, I mean, I won't just say like, I don't remember what book Tim was saying, but instead of just saying the book, I'll say like picture of this or picture of that. And that usually works pretty well for me.
Thank you, Chase. Now we were looking. Yeah, go ahead, David.
Can I just add a quick thing about Yoast? Yoast has a habit of tending to make you over-optimize. It does things like advise you to put the put the main keyword in the description tag, and you know that doesn't do anything as far as SEO is concerned. So it's kind of tends to push you to do things that I believe are not necessary. And if you, I'm not sure exactly what Yoast says about this, but it seems to be saying you need to put the key phrase in every alt tag. And if it is doing that, what, you know, again, we're getting into this sticking key phrases in where you shouldn't do. When I use, when I have more than one image on a page, I tend to put the focus keyword in one of them, in one of the more important ones, if it fits, if that's what it shows. And if it's one of the more important ones, that should be what it shows. Or else what the hell are you doing as far as keeping focus for the piece? But I think that I think you need to take Yoast's over enthusiasm for keywords with a pinch of salt. Do what you feel is sensible, rather than do what Yoast tells you to. And I think this is a problem, a bit of a gotcha. Without being rude, Yoast is something that gets used by people who are not SEO experts, as well as me and my colleagues here. The problem is, I think it does tend to prod people somewhere where they shouldn't be prodding. And I have an unfinished blog post about this because it annoys me so much. You know, Yoast is good, but Yoast is also bad, and you've got to be a little bit careful, and you've got to know when to ignore it. Okay, Jim, you can go on now, unless anyone wants to contradict me, and I probably will.
No, I fully agree. A good practice is if you make a blog post to reread your blog post, because if you're reading this content, it doesn't appear to be natural. That's the it's really too much keyword stuffed for me. And there was another issue with I think it is with a plugin. For some reason, there are link tags in the body, which can be if you add the property attribute, but normally it's in the head section. There was also a div with an SVG image in it. The SVG image was something to do with Visa, American Express. I'm not really sure what it is about, but it has a display none. So that's basically hiding it from visitors. That's not considered good practice. I advise you to overlook your plugins and see which one you really need and which one you don't need.
I would
Thank you,
also
Edmund. Yeah, go ahead, Chase.
just really quick, I'd also say that it's always a good idea to cross-check your SEO with not just the Yoast plugin, but other like SEO checkers. Like there's this one site called SEO Site Checkup that works okay, but I mean all of these applications are made by people, so you got to realize that there's flaws in all of them to different degrees. But it's important not to take everything at face value. I have one person who I work with, and they just shoot for the Yoast plugin to turn green, the little button to turn green, and then they think that their SEO is like top notch. But literally, if you just have like over 500 words in the article, Yoast will put it green. I think I actually changed it now where it's actually a little bit harder, but it's still pretty easy to make that little bubble turn green. So definitely don't just take that at face value.
Good one, Chase. Now, we were looking at this site in the green room before recording started, and Edwin pointed out that and he also mentioned a few minutes ago that really should be checking what's wrong. But we should also add a link to the W3C validator and recommend to Jace, such a grace I should say, that she run her site through the validator. You won't always get a perfect result, although it is achievable, but you don't need to get a perfect result. But the validator does show fundamental errors in the coding on this site. Is that fair to say, Edwin?
Yes, indeed. And I also shared the validator in the thread. So.
Oh, excellent, brilliant. Thank you. All right, let's move on to the next. John Dunn is in a quandary. He said, let's say a website with 10 million plus pages is struggling to get much of its content indexed due to JavaScript executing the HTML. Let's say that the website is not blocking Google from its JavaScript files. Now, given that Google say that AJAX crawling directive, and he gives a link to a webmaster's document, which can be seen on the SEO questions community on Google+. But yet he said the AJAX crawling directive has been deprecated, and as per an announcement that Google made recently, as Google can index the JavaScript. He said, would it be a bad idea to advise the website that uses a pre-render solution and the fragment meta tag to inform Google, given that it is deprecated? I don't see any other solution other than A, rebuild the site, which is out of the question, or B, do the above and use a deprecated method to present the alternative content. Any thoughts, please? Thanks.
Oh boy. Yeah, this is always one of those fun ones because it's basically yeah, Google can read JavaScript, but when you're running 10 million plus pages, and depending on how they've structured the site, you know, JavaScript is quite intensive, and so they may say they can do it to index things, but in the end, they can't do it sufficiently at large scale. So I've seen this occur with larger sites, and it's oftentimes Google is providing answers for run-of-the-mill websites, but once you start getting up to a larger websites, having something like that in JavaScript is not going to scale very well. The amount of time that Google's bots are willing to take per site is going to drop quite dramatically, as you're probably seeing with a lot of the pages not being indexed. So, you know, I mean, you can switch over. You can do kind of pre-render solutions versus, what was it? Just the deprecated method. Fragment tag. It's hard not to suggest just, you know, what you need to do, which is rebuild the site. I mean, part of it is to kind of ask yourself what matters most. I mean, I wouldn't. First off, I wouldn't use the deprecated method, regardless. You can take the chance of going further in kind of the generally approved way of running sites that have JavaScript that Google mentions, and essentially sit back and wait for Google to catch up. If that's going to be the best option for you, you just have to make sure that there's a recognition of you're not going to be able to get all the pages you want indexed until Google can catch up with the ability to crawl at high level, large amounts of the website. Otherwise, it's going to be the pain of making that change to rebuilding the site in whole. Those are kind of what I would kind of say, and they're not all, at least for you. I'd say there's no good answer for that if you can't go down the path of rebuilding the site, you know, in HTML comparative to, so that I should say, so that you can get everything indexed to what you feel should be the right amount. It's going to take a little bit of time before Google can really truly crawl at a large scale, full-on JavaScript sites. It's just the way that's going to be.
Yeah, that's an excellent answer there, Micah. Also, though, sometimes when Google makes an announcement like this, it's because the spammers have got them backed into a corner. They can't find a way out, so they turn the feature off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's necessarily the case for the use of running JavaScript. It's just technologically, it's heavy. It's really intense. There's a lot of work that has to be done, and it just the way that I kind of look at it is, if it's going to be a lot of work for Googlebot to run through, then when you've got millions of pages, not all the time the bots are going to want to spend that amount of intensity for, let's just say it's not necessarily the top level quality of pages, but a lot of the lower level quality that they normally might do for kind of easy HTML pages. When everything is going to be an intense amount of time to run and crawl, to me it looks like right now they're not willing to spend as much time on it. And I think that's sometimes one of the unfortunate things when that occurs, and it's just having to keep in mind that when Google says they can do something new, it's bear in mind that that might not be quite true at scale, or there are idiosyncrasies. Years ago when they talked about being able to index Flash, everybody's like, yay, and it's like, wait, index doesn't mean they can really value everything in Flash. That's being very mindful of how they're explaining things. So yeah, it's just one of those sad, unfortunate situations, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. Would anybody else like to add to Micah's answer? I don't think there's any need. Let's tweet that and move on to the next. Here's one from Ingrid Cliff, recovering from dodgy backlinks. Hi guys, my 12-year-old plus site was run over by both Penguin and Panda, algorithmic, not manual penalty in brackets. It was due to early era article marketing, dodgy clickbait affiliates linking back to my site, and thin content in the early days. I have spent hundreds of hours doing everything by the book to review and fix problems, but to no result. Yes, I know Penguin is coming, and so is the next series of Sherlock, yes, at some stage in this century. I feel your pain, Ingrid. I'm now looking to build a whole new site on a new domain. I was advised by my SEO to migrate the quality content over to the new site and redirect individual pages without toxic links from the old site to the new site, but not to do a site-wide redirect. Pages with toxic links, homepage and a few others, would not be redirected or copied, but have a splash page saying we've moved and have a no-follow link to the newly rewritten pages on the site. I know that 301ing the whole site passes problems. What do you think? Would this strategy of 301ing selected pages still pass problems? Is it better to abandon 200 pages of good solid content and start from zero?
Why doesn't he just disavow all of his bad links and then wait?
Well, I guess he's probably done that, but like Penguin runs so infrequently, there's probably been a long time between drinks.
Yeah, but it's going to be relaunched and it's going to be running as part of, you know, the normal process now, apparently. You still need to make an effort to have removed links, though.
But even if you do disavow the backlinks or you do cleanup, I've seen with one of our clients, I was telling you last week, if you remember, that they have not recovered from the impact. Though it was a manual penalty, my client has not seen an improvement in the SEO performance even 1 year after the penalty was revoked. I remember there was an article reading where John Muller was suggesting that if you're not able to get yourself out of the penalty, it's better to start with a new domain. So that's what I read. So if it's really a difficult task for her to get all backlinks removed or disavowed, then I would say she can start with a fresh domain.
Yeah, if you've pretty much been hit by both Panda and Penguin, in reality, it's hard, assuming so versus kind of the fact that it, wrong analysis or anything. It's time to start over. If you've been hit by both, just start over in something new. It's basically a double whammy to say, yeah, we really, really, really don't think your site deserves to show up whatsoever. So that's Panda and Penguin on their own are difficult enough for a lot of companies to get out of. If you've got both, it's you can just give up on that and start anew.
I think there's a lot to be said for that. I think if we've got, or if Ingrid has got a real shed load of problems here, and even, you know, to the extent that she's put in hundreds of hours to try and make this site perform properly. The thought of 301ing some more problems to the new site makes me shudder a bit. Bin it, start again, I say.
Yeah, it must be very difficult because you know, people have invested a lot of time in their sites, and I think a lot of people do want to rescue the sites, but at times you have to step back and see how much time and effort and money do I have to spend to even to have a chance, even to pursue that small possibility that these can be reversed. And you just don't know when the next payment is going to run. Soon, but we've heard that for a while, so there is no, in a sense, set date in a stone that's going to say, well, you know, the switch is going to be flipped on this date, and you know, if you have done everything, you'll be fine. It's not like that. And as others have said, I think the potential reward or the probability of regaining what you had is very small, or it's going to be horribly expensive without any guarantees of success or likelihood of success. And in view of that, then I think it does make sense to start again. It's cost-benefit analysis in a sense that, you know, I don't think it would be wise to spend so much time, money, and effort into something that is so uncertain.
Yeah, and I would make sure on the old domain to have a custom 404 page. So you would basically every old page has a 404, and then the message we moved on with the link. If you serve a 200 there with a link, you say you would do no follow link. I would just be more safe and just serve 404 with a message. We moved on.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Well, Ingrid won't like to hear that, but yeah, I agree with you guys. It's very, very hard to look at a 12-year-old site and bury it. Maybe just leave it up there with that content and write new content for the new one. Does it get any traffic at all? Some miracle might occur and it might bounce back all of a sudden.
Really.
Okay, I'll tweet this one and we'll move on to the next. Valentina Huff. Has anyone used this Google URL submission tool before? What is the purpose of it? And she gives a URL which can be seen on the SEO questions community on Google+, but I'll try and read it. It's www.google.com/webmasters/tools/submit-URL. Suraj Gadagi gave another good answer.
Yeah, so basically we use this tool to submit the external URLs to Google Search Index, but it's like, from my experience, when you submit a lot of URLs, it doesn't guarantee that all the URLs will get indexed. But sometimes Google does a very stupid job when it comes to indexing, because I remember one of our client got a backlink from National Geography website, and when we discovered that the backlink was quite old, like 3 years ago we got the link, but Google never indexed that page. So we had to go back and just submit that link into Google Search Index to let Google discover that content. So yeah, so you can use to submit the external links to the tool.
Thanks, Suraj. Anybody else? All right. Next is a question from Marty Eigner on guest posting in 2016. He asks, what is your opinion on guest posting? Is it still a viable option for SEO in 2016? On the SEO questions community, Suraj pointed out that guest blogging still makes complete sense no matter what Matt Cutts said. Giving you approach, as long as you approach this activity with the right mindset. And that's true. Mostly from Googlers, you will only hear what Google wants you to hear. Can we get some responses for Marty Eigner?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on where that guest blog is. If it's in a well-read, well-respected site, then yeah, certainly go for it. One, it builds up, your authority. It builds up your own personal authority as the author, that you know what you're kind of talking about for potential clients, etc., etc. If it's some crappy, guest blog that you got off, an offer from Fiverr, or some person that approached you and wants to charge you $50 to put a guest blog in, and just forget those. Think about proper outreach, a well-written article that's going to showcase your knowledge and about the subject to readers who will then potentially want to know more and come to your site. In that sense, yes, it's well worth it, and that kind of stuff will always go on. If it's a low quality blog that's just pretty random and it's 500 words, just don't go down that road.
Yep. But anybody else? Thanks, Tim.
So in other words, don't use blogs for backlink building.
So if you've got an article in the New York Post, Chase, that you'd refuse a backlink?
Well, it's probably going to be a no follow.
Those are always no follow, but they're always good. It's always good. The point is, okay, if you're going to guest blog, you need to find the right audience, the right traffic, the right people that are going to see it. If you take a guest blog which is going to be low quality, hardly any traffic, The people that read it are just, you know what I mean? It's just, then there is no point to it, and the potential for being penalized for a link coming to you is quite high. You've got to think about guest blogging as in terms of marketing. The whole idea of marketing is to increase people's or customers' awareness of you as a business, as you as a service provider, as you as an in a particular genre. The whole point about it is that blog post is adding something of value, or that editor of that particular blog or news site feels will add something to the site. Of course, at the same time, you need to you pitch it to them, and it's got to be very well written for them to publish it. And if you've got something published there, it's it's good value. 9 times out of the 10, a lot of those sites, all their links are no followed. But that doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, it's in a really great place. People are reading it. People are. Google still puts your name to that content. It still semantically understands who you are, who wrote it, and it is of benefit to you.
Okay, so don't put backlinks on shady blog posts, only well-renowned blog posts.
I wouldn't even fucking waste my time on a crappy blog. If my stuff's going to be published, it's going to be on a well-placed, a well-placed, authoritative publication. I wouldn't waste my time on something that's nonsensical.
Yeah.
And I certainly wouldn't get a link from that.
Yeah, I think we've covered this. What I'd say to Marty is that if your potential drop site for a guest blog post appears on a list on a web page, it's something you should really stay away from. All right, let me tweak this and we'll go to the next. This one is from Matthias Mucha. He said, we've been focused on developing a technology, multiple web mobile tools of a certain kind for the past few years, and are about to release a kick-ass website with hundreds of those tools. We were using 2 different domains for the project so far, but the website will be on a 3rd. I need to decide what to do with those older 2 domains. One of the tools named .info, not the real one here, of course. The original domain is just a website with 8 tools. Moz Domain Authority 25, gets 40k visits a month, and earns a bit on AdSense, 250 a month. Wow. You should be instructing us, Matthias. All right, number 2, one of the tools, nameapp.com, again, not the real site, a website for the mobile app that has 15 of those tools. We just needed to have a website for it and hacked it together in a day or 2 and forgot about it. It has Moz Domain Authority 17. I doubt it brings any substantial traffic. The app itself has a considerable traffic, about 3,000 plus installs a day, 2 million in total. Wow. It's basically, I don't know what that's probably a trailing sentence there. He said 3, ourbrandname.com, which is the domain I purchased a year ago with the intent to be the website when it's ready. It currently redirects to domain number 1. Now, the question is what to do with number 1 and number 2. Here are a few things to consider. I have no use for those old websites. I definitely won't maintain them. I really want that 40k traffic to move to number 3 though. 1 is essentially a subset of the new website, 8 tools out of 100 that will be available at launch. Number 1's homepage will be one of the subpages on number 3. 2 and 3 have identical Whois records. For some reason, 1 has a different main contact detail, my wife's old physical address, but exactly the same admin and tech addresses. Here's my plan. Redirect most pages from number 1 to respective URLs on number 3 and every other URL to 3's homepage. Use the text from the 1 pages on respective 3 pages. And redirect the whole of the 2's and 3's homepage, or the whole 2's and 3's, the whole 2 to 3's homepage. Most links to 2 have the brand name as anchor text. What do you think about this approach? Am I risking anything? Is it likely that I will lose 1's traffic?
Well, the only thing I see is that he wants to redirect to the homepage. I wouldn't do that, because if you redirect to the homepage, Google might view that as a soft 404. So basically, you lose your search value there. I would do a redirect from 1 page to the next page, right? That way, you make sure that all the past value will be moved over to the new page. I think that's the main thing I would do here.
Yep, totally. Suraj, you gave another great answer on the SEO questions community on Google+.
So when I wrote this comment, he responded back. I think this is the overall approach he's taking. But when I told him not to redirect all the pages to the home page, I guess he said there are certain pages which doesn't make sense, so he doesn't have any option and he will be redirecting to the home page. But if there are tool specific pages, then he will make sure that these are redirected to the tool specific website pages of the new domain.
And he will lose traffic, especially during the recrawl period. To speed that up a little bit, you can go to Google Webmaster Console and mark it as move this site to, and that way you speed up the recrawling and redirecting from Google side. Bing has a similar tool, so I would use them both.
Yes.
Well, if it were me, I would not kill the number 1 site. Okay, so it's a pain, another site to maintain, but it's running nicely, generating $250 in AdSense revenue, 40k visitors. Why change it? I mean, is it a burden to carry? Will it cost anything? If it is costing a lot, you could move the site to a cheaper web host. It probably won't lose too many from being not on a premium host. But like every 301 is a loss, and certainly the sites, the pages that aren't perfectly relevant or perfectly synchronous on the second site, on the main brand name site, that you intend to do the homepage, they will be a loss totally. So why not bite the bullet and just make an executive decision to maintain that site in its current form? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, maybe he wants to rebrand.
Yeah, I think so.
It sounds like the original domain was a little bit wasn't really that branded, and yeah.
Branded enough to get 40k traffic.
Yeah. No, it is a good point, Jim. But it sounds like he wants to rebrand to a more unique brand name, and thereby, of course, that will give value too, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Taki.
It sounded as if the number one site had a descriptive name for the tool, and it's specific to that particular app or tool. So I assume that he feels that that's too restrictive for the whole range of apps that he's going to offer on the newly branded page. So, I suppose the decision is whether to keep, as you said, keep the site and concentrate on that particular type of app that's described in that domain, okay? And then expand on the branded term. That's one possibility. But then, the question may arise in the future that, okay, we really want to have it under this brand. And then that could be even more complicated in that situation. So it may make sense to really funnel everything into this newly created branded site. I suppose that's what Matoshi is trying to do.
Well, to my mind, I mean, it's no crime to have two websites, providing there's a reason for it, and keeping the original site and going all out with a new site, to me, makes sense. Anyway, anybody else? All right, let's move on from this one and go to our next on your run, number 11 on your run list. Arithmol TP said, hi, what is core search ranking update? Thanks in advance. I think this was mentioned as a Googler tweeted, I think, a post which used those words when describing the enormous amount of flux that had been recently reported by Dan Petrovic first and later by Mons. Anybody want to expand on that?
Well, this comment was made with regard to the Panda update. What happened with the Panda update was that they were doing data refreshes every now and then, with the comment that it is now within the core search ranking update. That pretty much mean that Panda is running over and over again. And it's not a separate algorithm where they need to press a button to do the data refresh. They would run it monthly or I don't know. They didn't tell me that, so I don't know about that. But they will be running Panda more often than they did in the past. that's basically what the comment meant from Google, as far as I understand.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. I think this is our final question tonight. It's from Fernando Vela. He said, hi, my business address is in Florida, but the phone number I have on my site and all my listings and citations has the Puerto Rico area code. I was wondering if it was worth it to change my phone to a Florida one for the purposes of local SEO. I currently don't appear on the local stack, and I'm worried it's due to my telephone's area code. I would need to use a Google Voice number and forward calls to my PR number, Puerto Rico number. I would then update my listings and website data to suit. Does this sound like a worthwhile effort?
I'm wondering if local SEO even considers your area code.
I would have thought so. I mean, if you are looking for local business and you look at this telephone number and it's not your local number, then you'd assume that the person's not local.
Right. So wait, does this mean this person switched local business locations on Google My Business, and he has a phone number with citations to that local business built for that phone number?
So it's a little unclear, isn't it? Because the business address is in Florida, so that's where he's targeting, and where he wishes to appear as a local business. But his number's a Puerto Rican one.
But on his site or on like local indexing sites?
Ooh, good question.
Because if it's just a brand new business if it's just a brand new business location and it's only on his site, then I would just change the phone number on his site, and on the business location I would just submit it to Moz Local and let Moz basically submit all of his NAP to all those different indexing sites, so he doesn't have to worry about it.
So this is only for the phone number, right?
Yeah. So, but it does sort of raise a somewhat of an interesting question: is that why does he have an address physical? I assume he has a physical address, and that's not a PO box. It's a physical address in Florida. Yet he's using a Puerto Rican number. So I'm not so sure how that is happening in the first place.
No. Well, I'm thinking a little bit like here in the Netherlands we had a special mobile number, right? 06 here in the Netherlands, and many local businesses use their mobile number, which basically for the whole of Netherlands, right? And that works perfectly. So in this case, you'll have a local Puerto Rican phone number, which you use in Florida. I don't know, to be honest.
No, I would change it because people in Florida are going to be really confused. They're going to look at it and they're going to go, what is this phone number? And they're not going to call it. So I would change it to a Google forwarding number. And I don't know if you do you guys know if you can use a Google forwarding number on your local business?
No idea.
I think Google Voice is only rolled out for the United States and Canada, as far as I know. So we don't use Google Voice.
No, we don't have it here.
Well, I might have to check it out and report back to you guys.
Yeah, yeah. But then he still has all those citations, right?
Well, yeah,
that
but
he,
to his other business location.
no, I think this only is the phone number, right? He already has all those citations to the Florida business location with the Puerto Rican phone number.
Oh.
That's right, or not? Or
Yeah, that's how I understood it. So let's say, it's an address in Florida somewhere. So, house number, street name, then the postal code and everything, and then has a telephone number which is a Puerto Rican one. So, as I said, I just don't get that first bit, the if you like, the why that's happening. But let's assume that's the case. So he has citations that are listing a physical address in Florida with a telephone number from Puerto Rico.
Well, in that case, he should just submit his listing to Moz Local with the new phone number, and Moz will detect all the inconsistent listings and update most of them without him needing to do anything.
yeah, it will be a hassle changing phone numbers, right? Because you also need to contact your contacts. It's not fun to do it, right?
No.
Yeah.
And how much is it worth, right? But I do agree that customers will be confused in Florida to see a Puerto Rican phone number. But on the other hand, you only have to do it once, and then you have a nice phone number from Florida. So
Yeah. I would do it.
yeah, I think you're right, Chase. Yeah.
Well, I see that Siraj said if you use a Google Voice number, wouldn't it be tied to you and not to a device or a location? He said, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you're right, Siraj, but one way around that is to use a Skype premium number. I'm not sure if they still do it, but with the Skype premium number, you can choose the exchange right down to which part of the city, or at least I remember doing it for New York, and I could pick the section of New York I wanted my number located in.
Oh
Which was
yeah,
a good.
yeah, Skype for Business. That's a great alternative.
Yeah.
And there are probably other providers that can help you with this particular problem.
So, can we get an answer on the question's title, changing the phone number for local SEO? Does the panel agree that it would be a good thing to change from a Puerto Rican phone number to a local exchange number if possible?
Yeah,
Yes.
but not only for local SEO. I would do it mainly for the customers, right? So that they don't get confused.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll tweak this one. Right, we've done it again, guys. We have answered all of the questions asked on the SEO questions community on Google+, for this week at least. Now we move on to our weekly SEO news roundup, and in this topics of interest are posted on the SEO news community. Anyone can post an article there. Providing its news. While this one is not strictly news, we left it there because it was put there by Chase.
I didn't do that.
Didn't you do it?
That was one of my coworkers.
Ah.
I didn't even know they were posting in that community. I'm going to have to go talk to them today.
Okay. All right.
I think I
Anyway,
banned them.
did you really?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was in the SEO news community or in the dumb SEO questions.
Well, I banned him in SEO questions too. We
Oh.
must have banned him in stereo because he pasted a crappy, non-relevant thing in SEO questions.
Yeah, somebody manages the social media there. I don't do the social media for that for First Click, so I got to talk to the guy.
Anyway, you don't need to be too hard on him, Chase. We don't mind. Anyway, this was an article, 5 trends that will change how companies use social media in 2016. I don't know if you want to talk to this article, Chase, but maybe you can tell us about firstclick.inc, First Click, Inc.
I haven't even read this article.
I rang Chase at work the other day because I couldn't get in touch with him, and we hadn't seen him on our panel for a few weeks. I wasn't expecting to get through, and I just got out of the pool and I had my dressing gown on. I don't know, and Chase couldn't stop laughing throughout the call, so I'm not sure if he noticed my dressing gown or not.
Wait, what? What did I just hear? I don't even know what I...
Okay, well, when I rang you the other day at work.
Oh yeah.
He was a bit worried about that sausage you were putting on the Barbie.
Well, it is not really an article. It is a slideshow with underscripts. The first trend will be social networks storm the workplace with Slack, which now has more than 1.25 million active business users. The second one is companies turn to employees for amplification. Okay, well, it's about sharing more. Number 4 is blank. Or number 3, then there's a blank slide. Number 3 is companies wade into social messaging from WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger to WeChat and Kik. Yeah, I think that's a good trend. Maybe more outside the US than because outside the US people have to pay for text messages. So if you install WhatsApp, you can freely text message or freely. You have to pay the data, right? Which isn't that much.
You guys have to pay to text?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, it's normal. In Brazil, 2 weeks ago, there was a whole discussion about WhatsApp and why WhatsApp was so popular in Brazil. And it's mainly because people have to pay per message, right? Social media advertising hits its stride. Okay. And social media eats the world. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, Siraj said, looks like we may have missed to address one question. It may have come in after we'd leave it until just before the hangout to do them. I'll check it out, Siraj, and if we need to come back to it, we will. Next news article in our weekly SEO news roundup was posted initially by Micah Fisher-Kirchner. and shared from a public share by Micah by Edwin Yonk to our SEO News community. Actually, it's an interesting article. I didn't get through it. It's one of those huge 4,000 word posts, and you know, always disconcerts me when I've been reading for an hour and I look up and the scroll bar's just moved down about 1/8 of an inch. But anyway, it's titled, "We analysed 1 million Google search results. Here's what we learned about SEO." I think it's pretty hard to learn, like, it's not, search results are so personalised that, and also search results are no longer just searching for a keyword. Often, as is mentioned in this article, which I did read that far, that you know, search is also about intent. Google is now able to determine intent.
Yeah, somebody, I forget who was saying this, but one of the leaders of the search team was talking about how Google has the understanding of like a 13-year-old right now, and they projected the future it will have the understanding of an adult.
So one of the point which I read in the article, it says that exact match anchor text appears to have a strong influence on rankings. What do you guys think? Does it? I mean, I kind of, I don't know, disagree with it, because I have lately evaluated a lot of backlinks of big websites, and most of the time the pattern that I see is brand plus keyword, or sometimes just a branded anchor text, not always the keyword. Like exact match keyword or a variation of the keyword, targeted keyword. So I'm not sure. Yeah.
Isn't it a bad thing to have too much? I mean, this is kind of going back to that what that other person was asking about earlier about the linking from their blog posts. Isn't it bad to have too much of the same anchor text pointing to your site? I mean, can't you get? I think it's Penguin that'll hit you for that, right?
Yeah, and sometimes you get manual penalty if you do it too much. But this article says that it has still a strong influence, which I kind of don't agree with it.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
In a sense, that's inevitable in that, I haven't read through the article, so I'm not 100% sure, but they must have looked at keywords, so they had intended to look at certain keywords, right?
Oh, allowed to look at it, like how did they analyze it, what exactly did they look? I was just going through it on the 10 point, which I kind of thought to ask you guys.
Okay, yes, Siraj, you're exactly right. Thank you for pointing that out. We did miss Skyland's question. Unfortunately, I can't load it in now, but I will make sure it's loaded in for next week. Okay, so I think the next button I click will be thank you for watching. Let me see. No, that's wrong. That's not the right one. That's it, because we already covered the other. All right. Well, look, does anybody have any other items of general business?
Pink fluffy elephants.
Apart from those.
Actually, let's do Skylands. I can do the paperwork later, if that's okay with you guys. You happy with that idea?
Okay.
I'll just
If you have a link for us.
I beg your pardon?
If you have a link for us.
Yeah, I'll give you a link. There we are. And for
Do you want
those
to read
that
it out?
can't, yes, I'll read it out. Skyland said that my business is listed in the local map pack for the keyword phrase that I selected when I set up my Google business page. I noticed that a few competitors are listed with varying keyword phrases and I'm not listed for those keywords. Where do these signals come from and how do I get listed for the related keywords? I do have the varying keyword services listed on my website. So it appears that the signals are being pulled from the Google business listing, but I'm unable to add these services to the Google business listing categories.
Descriptions. They need to add it in their Google Plus description or in their Google Business description.
I initially thought so, but I wanted he to send me the link so I could check, but he never got back to us.
So on that that part of her question where she said, Chase, you say that she only needs to add them to her Google My Business page description. Is it so? Once the Google My Business page is added, you can't go back and add different services, can you?
You can. I mean, you can add different categories, but if you do, they have to re-verify your listing. But if you just go in and make sure that all of your keywords are in your description for that local business page, you should be doing okay. And also make sure that the on-page signals you're pointing towards that business listing from your homepage or wherever you're pointing your page from. It could be a sub-page as well. Make sure that you're including your keywords on that page as well.
Cool. I was just trying to look at his profile just to figure out if he has a website that I could check. So what I saw is he shared a YouTube video which talks about like plumbing services in Santa Cruz, California, and then I tried to look at the website that is given within the description. This is the website that it appears. I mean, if you open it, it looks like a landing page, and I don't see any kind of a Google Plus profile or anything. Can you guys just check that?
I see you asked her for a personal message, and this is what she sent you. What was it, Chase? Oh, sorry, Siraj.
No, I'm saying that I saw the profile. I mean, I checked his Google Plus profile, and he has shared one of the video on his Google Plus profile, which when I checked that video, in the description he has a link. So I'm assuming that it is about this website, which is plumbing services. And if you visit this website, this is how it looks like. So I'm not sure if he wants to rank this particular landing page. I mean, obviously Google Plus profile of this particular website.
The people who are ranking for those other keywords as well might be it might have something to do with their citation building as well. because the other local indexing sites that are getting probably looked at by Google are also probably mentioning certain keywords. So, I mean, there's more than just the description, of course, but I mean, if they have a good description and good on-page signals from their website, and they're updating their Google local business page with like updates about different things in their industry, and they're also doing local indexing within all their different sites or local indexing sites, they should be okay. Make sure that they get reviews too. If they get reviews, the customers are going to start mentioning keywords as well.
Okay. Sorry for my quietness. I'm just creating a page for Sky's question. All right, I've done that, but we'll need to edit it. Will you do that, Edwin, or will I? Apparently me. All right. Okay. All right. Let's leave it at that one, unless anyone has anything to add in response to Sky's question. Let's leave it at that, and we'll put that answer to Sky. And Sky, when you watch this, if we haven't given you enough, please feel free to load it again for next week, and I promise we'll work harder next Thursday night. We had quite a number of viewers watching this tonight, and unfortunately they're all gone now.
No.
That look, when you're watching this at a later time, thank you for your interest. Your interest in what we do makes what we do worthwhile. We'll be back at the same time next week to do this